Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday evening at 7:51 my time, and I decided to come on for a little tread and talk. So, if you guys are around, welcome. I'm for those who are like, why is she doing this? There's two reasons. One is I need to finish off my walking on the treadmill today, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And the other is just to hang out with you guys if you're around and maybe answer any questions about whole food, plant-based, no oil cooking, recipes, how Cheryl and I are doing. Be sure to say hi. I see a couple people are already watching. So I did take a walk earlier with my dog, Max, who some of you have seen him, I think. And yay, Hop into Health is here. Excellent. Are you treading with me today? um, so we took a walk because it's actually kind of pleasant. It's only about 84 degrees outside. But we took Max and he's dog reactive. Hey, Elizabeth. Oh, Elizabeth is here. And Susan. Yay, everybody. Um, so we only got about 1 mile in, maybe not even a whole mile. And I watered all my plants because a couple of them are looking a little extra sad. And I asked Alexa, I was like, Alexa, when is it going to rain? And she says, I can tell you when it's going to rain in the future. Would you like me to tell you that? But she would never tell me when it's going to rain. And Dee is here. Excellent. And Lise, I believe is how you say your name. If not, spell it out. I'll give it a go. Brenda, Susan from Maryland, Apple. Let's see. Oh, get Elizabeth on there. And those of you who live near me in the Triangle area, don't forget Elizabeth is who runs the plant-based pod in Chapel Hill, and you totally want to get to know her. And let's see. Okay, I don't think I missed anybody else. If I did, I'm really sorry. Linda's here. Yay! Hop into Health says I did the treadmill during work today. Good for you. And Sandra's saying, how's my garden? And I will say, oh, thank you. That's very sweet. I didn't put that up on purpose. That was a tread slip. um, I know. I want to know when the rain's coming too. Cheryl asked, we asked like 7 different ways to Alexa, and she would not tell us. I think she's going to go in the corner. Linda says it's rained and stormed so much here today that I have grass underwater, and we get to repeat it tonight and tomorrow. I'm sorry. Going back to Sandra, in some ways, it's the best garden I've had yet. I've gotten lots of little teeny tiny eggplants, some of like the gypsy peppers, and tons of tomatoes. More tomatoes than I've ever had before. I planted 2 containers of sugar baby watermelons, and I got one off of one that was, and there's 2 that I have more in the shade, or it's not the shade, it just doesn't get sun the whole time because it gets sun. It's very, very sunny. And I have 2 that I'm hoping to pick from over there. My cantaloupes, I got one that was maybe like 3 bites in there of cantaloupe. Uh, oh, Lisa says it's hot as Hades in Florida. I bet it is. And Susan says in Maryland they're supposed to get rain tomorrow and Friday. Well, and Alexa was kind of like, uh, Lisa, like normal, like Lisa, or Lisa. I'm probably doing that really bad, but I'm trying hard. It may not seem like it. And Dee says my second raised garden, think Indy's baby garden sprouting collapsed yesterday. Oh no. And Linda's in Windsor, Ontario. And I always forget because I'm me. Oh, hey, YouTube 88 from Philly. Welcome to Tread Talk. So, hopefully, you guys watch today as I talk to the two cool doctors that Lisa Rice works with. And they were talking a lot about being compassionate to yourself and what I like scientific proof that taking care of yourself actually helps inflammation and other things. So, be sure to catch that. Probably after I get off the treadmill, I think Cheryl and I are going to sign up for their 4-week seminar talks because it was just really awesome. I really liked them a lot. Uh, Lisa, not Lisa, Lisa, maybe. And Hoppin is in Minneapolis. That's awesome. Oh, Susan watched today. Yeah, I didn't talk to them ahead of time, but I looked through their new book and I kind of had, well, Lisa Rice liked them. I was going to like them vibes, and they were super nice. I really, really enjoyed them. Uh, Good soil salvaged. I'm sorry that something went bad. I did. So I have three. They're not raised beds. They're like 2x3 raised containers. So it's kind of like a giant flower box, really. And I have three of them. There's like a landing right outside the kitchen door. And it doesn't get as much sun there. It gets some. So I've been putting herbs over there. And I replanted some of the kale and Swiss chard that didn't do anything in the front before it could bolt. And I had planted some just spring greens that I was clipping and putting in smoothies a few months ago. And then they were getting bigger. I'm like, this will be awesome. I'll just wait a little while and make a big stir fry. And I don't know if it was a June bug or what, but somebody ate all of it last week. All of it in one container. There's still some and some others. And Lisa says, when I get back to my North Carolina home in March or April, I hope you can give me some raised bed tips. I can tell you what works and don't. I'm a big experiment person, but those raised beds don't work as good as they had some self-watering containers. I got all of them at Lidl, which is kind of like Aldi's. It's and they were cheap. They were like $20 each, and that's what the tomatoes really thrived in. And so they're about 2x2. They're square, and I don't know how much in gallons or half gallon or whatever. It's a big, but it's probably about 2 inches tall, and it has some fabric that goes down and wicks things up before the plants come all the way down. But I love them. And Susan said I signed up for their 4-week class after your class. Yeah, because I think it's 149, so it was pretty reasonable. It's going to be like Zooms where you can ask questions and stuff for 4 weeks. Hi, Rill. Oh, wow, in Milwaukee, you broke a 76-year-old heat record. I'm sorry and congratulations. No, I don't mean to be. The heat this year has just been crazy. And that's the whole reason I'm usually treadmilling. So tonight it's because we took Max out and he's dog reactive. So, we were on a little road, probably two tweens were walking these big old hound dogs that were kind of out of control and already making a lot of noise. So we just got across the golf course. I'm queen of and if you live near me, you've probably seen me cut past your backyard sometimes, and that means there's a dog owner who's not paying attention, and I got to get Max out of there. Got to protect my baby. Hey, Vicky. And Sandra said, I like that they have a soft approach to wellness, and I agree, because that's why I like Lisa Rice so much and Dr. Stephanie Peacock. I don't think I would have anyone, we'll see if I change my mind, but I don't know that I'd have anyone talking about toxins other than Dr. Peacock because she's the same way, you know. She's giving you all the information, and maybe there's something you'll choose to change, or maybe your diet is just really clean and that's how you're going to do it. But I don't like a lot of fear mongering. And in fact, it's a pet peeve of mine, really. Oh, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Said it was very informative and inspirational. So one of the things, if you didn't make it, that Dr. Letterman said was like 3 times a day, just you could set something on your watch, just check in and go, how do I feel? What do I think I need? And I know that all seems really easy, especially if you're in a really good place. But if you're in, you know, maybe the weather's being really bad, maybe something's gone wrong with your house or someone you know is sick, then it's a lot harder to check in. Or sometimes I think even when you're working through some of your emotional baggage, it's good to have that in because sometimes, because Cheryl lives with me, I notice when I get cranky, right? Because I'm like, I'm not usually angry about this, but I'm angry. Then I have to go back and think about it. Whereas I'd like to be a little more proactive and go, I'm feeling kind of crunchy today. What do I need? And it could be that I need a walk all by myself where I don't have to worry about Max. Or maybe I just need to sit. I really want to sit outside. So for me, I know all I want to do is have a work day outside again. And it's been too hot for that. All right, let's come back. Ooh, have your raised beds made. I have 7x3 that look 2 years new. That's amazing. We have so many deer that actually my stuff is on the second floor deck. So it works really well for me. When we first moved here, I had some earth boxes downstairs, but like all it takes is a hot minute for it to be mosquito infested down there, and I didn't want to go down as much. And then this year, in fact, we had deer. A deer had babies in our back fence part of our yard, and we didn't know about it. So there were deer in and out of our backyard a lot. But I think we have a neighbor who's getting a fence built with like one of those U-shaped raised beds, and I think that's going to be amazing. And they have water coming to it, so they can just do timed sprinklers, which is just amazing. And Lisa says, I love Lidl. And Lidl has tofu, has non-dairy milk. They have pretty decent produce as well, and sometimes they'll have some things on sale. I have not checked their breads to see if they have any no oil bread, but I'll try and look next time so I can report. And Susan said, I used to live in Austin. My sister still lives there. There are 44 days in a row over 100. And I just can't. The older I get, the harder heat is for me. I don't know what's happening. And Judy says it's so hot here in Ohio. Tomorrow the heat index is going to be 105 to 110. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Um, hey, Marcia. It's awesome to see you here. And oh, Mary says hi. She's a 17-year-old female using probably her friends or husbands login. It says guy. That's hilarious. I'm glad you're here. Okay. Ooh, Rill said she made sweet potato chili from Slow Cooking for Two. And if I remember, that's Was that the oat groat chili? I need to get some oat groats. We've been out for a while, but that's been pretty fun. So what have you guys been up to today? So today, what did I do? I got up, I met with my health specialist Stacy and did my report for the week. I think we have 4 more weeks of weekly meetings with her from our 12-day McDougall program. And then on Wednesdays, there's a meeting of all the alumni from forever, the 10-day and the 12-day program. And that was pretty good talk. Then I had a live. It's been a busy day. And then I did some work. We had lunch. Then we took a walk. And now I'm here. So you've kind of seen my whole day happen. Oh, yes, we do. Okay. Dee says I'm in Northwest Florida Gulf, 109 by 7 a.m. And CJ says you all need to move to Scotland. It's been pretty cool and rainy here. That sounds just lovely. Because as much as I like being outside, there's nothing as delicious as a rainy day inside. Now, I'm not talking hurricanes, not talking flooding. And we have, like, here, you can kind of see the windows back there are clear story. Let's see if I can do this. You can't see much, but see how it's a deck house? So we don't have an attic or anything. So when it rains, we really hear the rain, which is kind of cool. And Apple and I are ready to move to Scotland. And I even have a friend now in Scotland who's a tarot card reader named Marion, who came to one of my lives before. She's delightful. And so she does like tarot card readings in all these different cool places. So I think that would be pretty magical. Dee made barbecue seitan with my watermelon rind curry made up. Ooh, I've had watermelon rind pickles, but I've not had a curry. You may have to send me that recipe so I can try it. Oh, good, Sherry. I'm so glad. Because in a way, I feel slightly foolish just getting red and sweaty and bad lighting with you. But I love getting to see you guys more. And so I'm glad you guys like them. Sherry cleaned out her freezers today. That is big clapping, my friend. And made oatmeal pizza bake for Well Your World. I've been hearing great things about that. And Susan says, how do you water your garden on your second floor deck? Do you run a hose up there? I was thinking of growing things on my deck too. Too many deer on ground level. So the house is kind of hard to explain, but it's like a split level. And like this room that I'm in is on supposedly the second story, but there's kind of a hill. So if I made a door that came out, I just have to go down a few steps and I would be right there. However, on the other side of that glass, it's like 15 feet down. So it kind of goes like that. There's a hill. And we've got steps that go up the deck, and we have a little fenced off area so that when Max was younger, he can jump the fence. So we kept him there and just let him out when we were there with him because he's a little special needs dog. Um, he's our little Prozac baby. So, but physically, in general, he's good. So we have a long hose that basically right where the steps go, maybe 6 feet away from that is where the water is on the house. And we just run it up the side. Actually, I ran it up the side of the stairs. I think Cheryl has it hooked in a different way. And so we have the little hose holder at the top of the stairs, and I just take the hose and then I spray everything down. Supposedly, I would do the same thing on the kitchen side, which is also kind of second story landing. But I tend to just get pitchers of water and pour over there because since it doesn't get so much sun, it doesn't dry out super easy either. Um, I would say during the summer, probably this plants that get sun, what I'm saying 100% of the time, it's probably from 8 in the morning till about 8 at night. And it's right where the sun is. So it gets really direct sunlight. All right. Apple says, I made a zine and did some weaving today. That sounds delightful. I love fabric arts. I'm not very good at them, but I love going to like quilting exhibits and seeing woven art and things. It's just, I like it because it's so tactile. And I still haven't seen any of your zines yet, but I'm excited to one day. And Hop into Health says, do you have a good no oil mozzarella not cheese? I tried Miyoko's oil-free recipe, but I think I messed it up. I haven't done Miyoko, so I would look for Moxie, Foxy. I think it's Moxy as well, by Summer. It does use cashews. I'm going to try and make it with oats soon and see if it'll translate. Another person to look at, I have not looked at Julie Hassan's new recipe. She made one that was like Miyoko's pourable mozzarella. I don't know if oil was added or if it could be tweaked. And I have not watched her live yet, where I think she made the no oil. Hop in, if you have the URL where you got that recipe, if you put it in there, I'll also try and take a look at it. One thing that I've been doing is making a lot of cheese sauces. So if you go to healthyslowcooking.com, and this is not exactly an answer to your question, but maybe a place to start experimenting. I have an oat queso, and it's like a cup of rolled oats, 2 cups of water, a little lactic acid, garlic powder, onion powder, mustard powder, and for the queso, I put in jalapeno powder. I've also left out the jalapeno powder, put in some liquid smoke or smoked paprika, and made like a smoky fondue. It's not gonna like set up the way Miyoko's cheese will. Foxy Moxie will. And but if you're just looking for something, especially as a dip, we've taken it. Leftovers will firm up more because we're making it with oats. And I've spread that on like a veggie burger. And back in the ancient days, before vegan cheese used to look like cheese, that's what you got. So I don't know if that's any help at all. Sandra says, what's your best substitute for nuts in recipes? And does it depend on what recipe you're creating as to what substitution? It does a little bit. I'm big on oat substitutions. And this is why. A lot of people are allergic to nuts or are cutting out nuts for one reason or another. So if you're doing the starch solution or the maximum weight loss diet or Mary's Minis, so the last two, nuts are a no. With what I'm doing, if you've reached your goal weight and health goals, or you need to gain weight, you can have nuts. But I find there's a lot of people not doing nuts, and then there's nut allergies. Oats, rolled oats in particular, are such a cheap substitute as well because cashews and pecans and all those get quite expensive. Almonds. So I'm trying to remember. I also will use beans. So if you look up cheese, vegan cheese on my channel, I haven't put it up on the blog still, but I have a jalapeno pepper sliceable oil-free cheese, and it is made of chickpeas. I have also done the same one with oats, and they both work great. I like using oats for a couple of different reasons. One is that there is fat in oats, so you do get a little bit of that nice mouthfeel without having refined oil added. And they also thicken with heat, making a nice sauce. And I'm trying to think. I do have a nut-free Parmesan that's super simple. I actually toast rolled oats and I smell them. I smell in the beginning and I smell a little and smell a little. Then they start to smell like nuts as you toast it slowly. And I pulse that in a blender with a little bit of salt and nutritional yeast. And it tastes a lot like Parmesan. It's great on pasta and it's super cheap. You don't use salt for health reasons or otherwise. Maybe you're on the SOS or SOFA's free diet. You don't have to put salt in it. What I would do is use my salt-free substitute, my plain salt-free substitute, like I call it, which is 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, and 1 teaspoon ground celery seed mixed together, used as you would salt. And that way you won't have Cajun Parmesan or, you might want Italian Parmesan. You could put other herbs in there, of course. And so I would say my best substitute for nuts in general recipes often are oats. If you toast them, they will start to smell nutty. Now, I wouldn't use them like in banana bread for banana nut bread. What would I do? But you could certainly toast the flour or put some toasted oats in there to give it a little more flavor. What else? I don't know. Give me some recipe ideas, and I'll try and get the particular recipe if that helps. Ooh, I gotta make that curry. That sounds awesome. And Lisa says in Florida now it's rainy season. I sleep so many hours per day because of this beautiful rain noise. Yay. Otherwise, I take a lot of sleep medication. And it can be hard when you're not sleeping. It kind of messes everything up, doesn't it? Uh, After the McDougall program, Cheryl and I started staying up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, which is crazy. We're not late night people. Just watching TV. Mostly because we were like 12 days that we had to be sitting somewhere and doing everything at a certain time. And I think it was our inner child's rebelling against all that. But it was, we're getting back on track now. And Sandra says, I think rainy days give me permission to just relax. And I feel the same way. Like, I lived in Arizona, I think it was a little over a year, in Phoenix and Scottsdale area, which is how I found out I am not a desert person, and it does not rain enough. And I missed it so much. And I I know a lot of people like when it's sunny, they feel happy. And I'm more of like when it's super sunny for too long, I feel like I'm being made to be happy, or I should somehow present this happy face, even if I'm not happy. And I feel like rain, my shoulders come down. I feel whatever I'm feeling. It's like it gives me permission to process everything in a very relaxed, do it in your own time kind of way. Okay, and Dee says Miyoko is a hard one. I looked at her newest, I need nut free, and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm sorry. I do look at some stuff from Wicked Kitchen, but I haven't looked at a lot. And Apple says broccoli mum, excuse me, Americanizing that, has a great McDougall style purple mozzarella cheese. Awesome. So that's where you should be looking. She used to have a vegan cheese business. Oh, I gotta look at her then. Got some stuff to learn. Oh, good. Now, oh, is it in her pantry staples book? Because I don't remember that being oil free. But I will go look. I know she's just made a new. She has a either revived or new YouTube channel, Miyoko, and I know she did some other recipes there. But I'll look at that. And it was for pizza you made, exactly. Um, I would look for Foxy Moxie, and I'll check out Broccoli Mum. Oh, yeah, that's right, my ricotta. Let's just say, So chickpea, so is that a no, D? So I've been making a ricotta with leftover soy milk pulp or okara. And so when we were supposed to put the machine back today, it had come apart, and we want to do a video about putting it back together so other people can see it. But so I was making at least weekly, and really took the pulp and just stuck it in the freezer. But I just added some salt, lactic acid. You could put a little lemon juice in there, and some nutritional yeast, and it's free. It's the way I look at it. Um, yeah, nuts cost a lot of money. Oh, so is this my pepper cheese that you're talking about, or somebody else's? If it's mine, thank you. If it's somebody else's, give me that recipe. Oh, and you do like the dry parm. I have a video doing it because it seems like I'm lying to you about it, honestly. Because I'm like, out of magic of oats, it will now taste like nuts, right? That seems crazy. But it just, I also use toasted oats to make a roux. And actually, Marilyn, who comes here a lot from Louisiana, she puts the oats on a sheet pan and slowly roasts them, then grounds it up and has a jar of it to use for roux or for Parmesan or other things. Yes, that's a great question, Rocky. Regular rolled oats. And if you only had instant oats, that would work because instant oats are just rolled oats that have been pulsed a couple of times. Which, guess what? That means you can make your own instant oats if you want to make some bags to take on a trip. Take your cheap rolled oats, pulse them. You can put like some chopped up, like dried fruits, or you could carry some in a cooler to put in there. But I've done quite a few, and you can put like some dried blueberries and cardamom and maybe some chopped up dates. If you do sugars, you could use a little brown sugar or coconut sugar. All up to you. And Dee saying yes, Miyoko has adapted one for her YouTube. Yeah, her homemade vegan pantry book is amazing. I will be working on a whole food plant based no oil version or something similar to that is a book I'm working on for next year. So if you guys have some ideas that you want me to include in there, email me at kathyhester@gmail.com. Put book recipe idea, something like that, so I make sure I can save them all easily. Uh, and Dee says no lecithin or aquafaba for Miyoko. I'm not sure what you mean. And Sandra just made whole food plant-based mayo with cashews, and I know I need to swap it out. I haven't made my goal weight, and it's been months. Well, depending if you're okay with tofu, I make a silken tofu mayo. And I can't remember if you were here. I've been mentioning this a lot because I was kind of surprised. Because I haven't been making soy milk, haven't been making soy yogurt. So I've been buying it at the store and complaining like I'm 90 years old because I'm paying $10 for a big thing of yogurt. And the only one I can find with no added oil that has no like coconut milk or coconut oil or the likes in it is Kite Hill almond. And so it depends if you're okay with that or not. But what I've been doing to make a super easy mayo, and I did it today for our burgers, is I just take some of that and add some kala namak. And you could put a little lactic acid or a little bit of lemon juice in there if you wanted. I found it was too thin to add any liquid, so I literally just put kala namak or the black Indian salt, and it's pink. It's called black because the outside of the crystal is black. Inside, what we use is pink. Just in case you ever see it both ways, you'll know why. Um, but it's super easy. I just mix it up and it tastes just like mayo. It tastes eggy. It's got that nice consistency. Or you could use a silken tofu. And again, if you can't use salt or don't use salt, just leave it out. There's not really another replacement that I know of for the eggy flavor. Just like there's not an exact replacement for nutritional yeast for a cheesy flavor. Doesn't mean that you can't enjoy your food without it. But I'm trying to think, I think I usually put some lemon juice or apple cider vinegar in a small blender with silken tofu, but you don't have to use silken tofu. A little bit of kala namak if you can use it. And what I did the other day, last time I made it, is I put in a big handful of fresh basil and basically made a basil spread. So that might be one thing. Now I know tofu and soybeans are also high in fat, so that may not be the perfect solution for you. I think that almond yogurt is probably going to have less fat than the silken tofu. Dee said I tried making the ricotta with my chickpea okara. That's right, you're making chickpea milk, right? And I still haven't done that. But you ended up making falafel, and I think that would be a great way. I also, I was looking at something I put on my list today to make a falafel mix. And so you could probably dry that chickpea okara too and make a mix. So you could just mix up falafel. Okay, yes, my pepper cheese. And Dee says she doesn't do overnight oats. I know that Apple loves them. And Cheryl's been taking over oatmeal duty for the morning. So and it's not been so bad eating hot oats. Today, I didn't really have any good fruit upstairs, so I thought I grabbed blueberries downstairs and I got blackberries. So I had probably a quarter cup of frozen blackberries that I heated in the microwave. I zested a lemon. I put a little bit of vegan honey, which does have some sugar in it, but it's made with dandelion root flour and leaves. It's really delightful. I got it from a maker in South Carolina at a Veg Fest. And then I had my oats in there. It was wonderful. CJ saying, I think it's about broccoli mom. I suspect she's starting something new that's McDougall compliant. Is that it, or did I miss something else? Let's go back to CJ. Yes, it is. Look at me keeping a train of thought while I'm walking and talking to you. I feel like I've passed a test. Oh, and I got a new water mug. I'm like all in for Halloween. I am pretending it is October already. Oh, Joanne is here. CJ said, my cat Molly loved that cheese. I love that. Because, our animals always do end up eating some of the stuff we do, right? For good or for bad. And Sandra's saying, I love Kathy's mayo recipes. And I'm fingers crossed the next month, I'm hoping to get a bunch of the recipes up on the blog. of some of these basics too. And he says it's Vegan Good Life with Miyoko on YouTube. That is cool. It's a perfect question, Judy, because I think it's only been maybe 5 years that I've known about vegan lactic acid. So lactic sounds like it's from dairy, but it's not. And basically it's made from beets. And you can get, there's the brand I use is Druid's Grove, and I get it on Amazon. And it's this white powder. And if you just take a little and put it on your tongue, it tastes a little spiky like citric acid or like a sour candy. But what it ends up doing in these non-cultured vegan cheeses is it gives it a little bit of taste of age. Also a little bit of like yellow mustard powder can help with that too. If you don't have it, you don't have to use it. You could use a little apple cider vinegar. It's just the more you use it, like it takes years to use up like a $15 package of it. Usually use it a half a teaspoon or so at a time. But it just adds a little more authentic flavor, like to all of these weird cheese sauces that I make with oats. And Rocky said, did I hear you right? You're making soy yogurt. Not right now, but soon. I have made it before, but I've been making, if you guys have seen, before this summer, I was doing a lot of reviews on plant milk makers. And for me, making soy milk is important. I love it. And the Miomat is the one that I've been using. So something weird had been happening, and then finally the blade came off. So basically the blade stuff just unscrewed itself. It was not the end of the world. They were super nice about it. And I just want to do a video putting it back together. We did one and we put it back together wrong. Which is embarrassing because he hadn't told us exactly the steps and we thought we knew. We didn't know. That's why we want to put it together for you and probably for me another time. But I've made tofu and tempeh. I love making soy yogurt. I have a recipe for making soy yogurt or one that has pea protein in it if you don't want to do soy on plantbasedinstantpot.com and outrageous oatmeals. And if you're in Kathy's Cooking Club, somewhere in there we did the oat yogurt. It turns a little more like pudding because we make the oat milk. This is before you could buy oat milk. Was there a time? Yes. So you're making it and then you're heating it up to the right temperature and it gets thick. And so it's really, it reminds me a lot of what some of the extra thick vegan Greek yogurts became like. It's almost a pudding texture. And yeah, Joanne makes her yogurt all the time. That's why, Joanne, you need to be moving in our neighborhood. But I know we're too far away from water for your husband to agree. But see, we could trade things. I'll just plant that seed for the future. And Rocky says, I enjoy the starch solution mayo made with silken tofu. And there's a bazillion recipes, and they're all pretty delicious. And Dee says, chickpea milk is awesomeness, and I've got to try it. Just because I haven't. And the other thing I still need to try is, why can't I think? They're not just like the yellow lentils, split yellow lentils. I'm wanting some fancy word for that. And the Hopkins Al says you're a great multitasker, and I would absolutely love all of your Halloween gear. Oh, well, this place is Gideon's Bakehouse, and they do art stuff. They're in Florida. They're in Orlando. At their regular store, We can't have anything. They don't have any vegan cookies or cakes, which is not the end of the world for me because I don't be needing that. But they have wonderful iced coffees with oat milks and homemade syrups. And I have a bunch of their t-shirts. The new t-shirts, prints, and stuff come out every month. And I'm all about that. Yeah, Sauce Stash has some really good stuff too. And Joanne says, I love it when you post vegan staples. See, I'm going to have to decide. I, I have to decide if I'm going to be pitching this to a traditional publisher, or if I'm going to do this book next year self-pubbed. So I've been talking to my book agent, and so I'm writing some stuff down, and then we're going to talk. Because I thought she was going to say, nah, nobody's going to buy that. And I had some unreasonable demands that she thought was not unreasonable, so that threw me for a loop. So I'm starting to make notes for that book as well, and I want it to be, I know some of you, and I think Joanne, you were on this, I was testing for a sauce book a while ago, and I'm probably going to come out with one or two more ebooks this year, and then next year will be this very large book project. Dee says I make my oat-based yogurt. Yeah, I love oats. And Jamie says, what are your favorite pair of walking shoes? These are Ultras. So they're kind of like zero shoes in that they have a wide toe box. John Pierre really likes those a lot. And I think, I'm trying to remember if Cheryl was standing here, she would know. I have two. One is like urban, and then this one, whichever one this is number 6, maybe Olympus 6. And I find these are better for long distance. They have more cushion than a zero, a little more arch support. And what I would recommend that you do if you want to get zero or ultra shoes, it starts with an A, ultra. We have Mass General Store, and they have a lot of the versions. So there are two kinds. One is like the traditionally wide toe box, and sometimes they have some new thinner ones. So I tried on the new model of these shoes, and it felt like I was wearing clown shoes. So with some of these, just get ready that some of them may be wider than others, and look online once you find the pair you like. Cheryl turned me onto these. She really loved the Zero shoes, and that's Xero. And it was just, I need some cushion. But I also walk a lot more than Cheryl does. So it just helps keep my ankles. I find these Olympus do better than and I think it's the urban ones. They just don't hold my ankle quite as steady as these. And Joanne says, I can make my own dinners, but having staple ingredients at the ready make it so easy. And I really, really agree with that. And in fact, if you go to healthyslowcooking.com, I'm pretty sure I have my white gravy mix. I don't know if I have my creamy sauce. It's kind of close to the same. And the white gravy mix is like stupid simple. It's like oats and garlic and maybe a pinch of nutritional yeast. But having it in a jar where I just pour some out in a pan, toast it up a little bit, then add either water or my non-dairy milk, it makes it a lot easier. And I'll have to go look and see which ones are on there. Maybe I have a cheese powder too. And I know you can get these now. I made up this cheese powder in Outrageous Oatmeals, which is a bazillion years ago, right? I think it's like, that was my first book with Page Street. So that was probably like 2012. So it's probably been at least 10 years. And it's great because I keep telling Cheryl, I can make you mac and cheese that's compliant. And she keeps saying, oh, it's so much work. And I'm like, You toast some stuff in a pan, you add some non-dairy milk, and then you add your pasta. It is no harder, really. It's this much harder than Kraft mac and cheese for a box or Daya mac and cheese for a box. Um, Dee really wants to try making tempeh. Joanne is like a tempeh queen. She's the queen of lots of things. And Mary finally caught alive. Oh, I'm so glad you've been hanging out with me in the replays. And I can't imagine how hot it must be in Tucson, Arizona right now. As hot as it is everywhere else. It's not that hot here, but we're trying to train our thermostat, so it keeps creeping up. So I just felt a sweat drop. So I'm like, I wonder exactly how high it is right now. So Cheryl, if you're watching, you could turn it down a little bit. And Dee loves her almond cow. I'm team. My favorite for me is the Mia. I think the almond cow does a lot of great things. The soy Bella, I especially recommend for my Canadian friends who, unfortunately, all the milk makers cost twice as much. I don't understand. Moondall, that's what I was trying to say. Moondall, for making the milk, probably. See, Chana Doll or Tour and you could use either one of those. Chana Doll or like baby chickpeas that have been skinned and split. And that'd probably be a great thing to try and use to make milk with, actually. Hey, Shrinking Shadow, it's good to see you again. Marilyn is here. I was talking about you. I was talking about how you toast oats in the oven to make a larger batch of roux. Oh, Apple likes altar shoes. Thanks for spelling them. Um, is your white gravy the same as AL mix? AL. I don't know what you're asking me. My yum yum sauce. Maybe. It's pretty basic. So in the South, and I'm in North Carolina, and we do things like gravy on everything. And I make compliant gravy by using oat base and using a non-dairy milk. In fact, you could use oat milk. Live your best oat life is what I say. And so I'll make some air fried soy curls, make some mashed potatoes, saute up a mess of greens. It could be collards or kale, whatever you like. And then smother it in some white gravy. For that, usually I would add nutritional yeast and make it chicken gravy. And Linda says, I'm a bit behind, but this link has Kim Campbell's recipe for a sliceable mozzarella. That's awesome. So it has Pizza Party, and I love Kim. And I think I told you last Friday we met up for like 5 hours. And yeah, just the weirdest thing. I think it's the community's favorite cookbook that I've ever written. It was the first one that went out of print. Again, why the bunny ears? Because you can still buy the ebook from the publisher. It's a new time where nothing's really all the way out of print. Alabama white gravy stuff, yes. And my white creamy sauce is almost the same with a little more garlic powder, I think, and a little more nutritional yeast. And I use that a lot to make like an Alfredo or creamy pasta sauce. And a lot of times what I'll do, my favorite thing to do is saute mushrooms, then sprinkle the powder, toast it a little bit, and then add the milk and kind of whisk it in. And with any of these powder to liquids or sauces, you kind of go back and forth between, it's too thin, turn up the heat. No, it's too thick. Add some more non-dairy milk. Go back and forth until it's kind of right. Pull it off the burner when it's not as thick as you want it to be. It's still hot and it's going to cook a little bit longer. Ah, garlic-based white yum out of white bean sauce. You could totally make this in a blender with white beans, some non-dairy milk or water, same amount of spices probably, a little nutritional yeast, a little garlic powder, and then that works great too. In the Great Vegan Bean book, I did a lot of kind of sauces with beans. I also did 2 spreads. One of my favorite spreads is in there, and it is, let's see, here we go. It is almonds and white beans with apple cider vinegar. It's kind of like a goat cheese alternative, and I'm going to be trying to make that nut-free very soon. Vicky says, question for anyone. What's the best way to prepare a purple sweet potato? I think it would depend on what you want to use it for. Oh, but D, ubi and the creamy. So it could be a Stokes purple potato or the normal Filipino purple potato. That would be really good as a dessert, making it into ice cream. I would probably bake it. I've been baking I do both. I bake the sweet potatoes. I've been using my Breville Air 400 degrees for I've been getting these giant Hannah yams. So it takes an hour. If they're little bitty like my orange potatoes have been, because they've been an early harvest, 15 to 20 minutes baked. Those little ones, and this should work with purple as well. I've been putting about a cup of water at the bottom of my Instant Pot. You could do a steamer or the rack that came with it. I pile up the small washed sweet potatoes. For both of these, I prick them with forks to let the pressure out. And then I just put them in the fridge and heat them up. But they're so pretty, those purple ones. Ooh, I have not seen that, Dee. Chickpea nooch. So is it a chickpea powder used instead, or is it a blend of things? And Marilyn hasn't heard about it either. So send me the recipe if there's a recipe, and tell me if I can share it or not, if it's your recipe. And if it is, I'll share it because there are tons of people right now, including Chef AJ, that are having some issues with nutritional yeast and would love a substitute. Because I think we could get the umami stuff up by adding a little bit of tomato powder, maybe ancho chili powder, a little mushroom powder, something like that. But yeah, I'll look up about that. And Vicki, did that help at all? Are you looking for just the basic cooking of it like that? Or are you looking for, there's so many Asian recipes, especially Filipino recipes for like desserts and stuff. They're just beautiful though. I just love the color. And the chickpea nooch, is it yours? But yeah, share it with me and let me look at it and see if I can come up with, it may be very simple and I can't come up with anything, but I can point you to that recipe and that will be good enough. Anybody else have any more questions? Because we're nearing the end of Kathy's treadmill walk for the evening. If you don't, send me good vibes tomorrow, or send Maxie good vibes. He is actually going to get, and he's our dog, he's going to get a liver ultrasound tomorrow, so I'm a little nervous. His liver numbers were high, like his mommy's used to be. And he's 12. And the first 2 years of his life, we didn't have him. He's a nervous little bunny. So we're hoping that he's just getting older and we're not going to see anything extravagant. But that would be great if you wouldn't mind doing that. Um, if I end up waiting a long time, or I may be on the treadmill with you guys tomorrow in the afternoon. If not, I'll try to, at the very least, leave a note here that everything's good with Max. If everything's good. If everything isn't good, I may not share yet. So, you know how it is when you get a senior dog, and he's white. He's a white dog with brown splotches, so he's the first animal we've had that really doesn't look old. He's he's crankier, he sleeps more and stuff like that. But Brenna was a dark dog. She was a lab plot hound mix, and she got this white muzzle, and she was basically like a black lab with tiger stripes almost. She was beautiful. And so it was just easy to accept her getting older. And she had had lymphoma, and she had also had some bad liver tests, but it was had nothing to do with all of that. And so she, because of the kind of cancer she had, we did treat it twice. And then the last time we're like, I don't think she's up for it this time. And it wasn't that long after that. We're pretty sure she had a little stroke, but she had a good life and she was lovely. And I miss her. And, it's hard with older animals sometimes. So I appreciate all the well wishes that are going to come from this. And Apple said, yeah, chickpea nooch, how? Nutritional yeast is a fungi. I'm confused. Do you mean chickpea miso? Ooh. In what you just said, you just gave me a great idea because I bet if you dehydrated chickpea miso, people who can't use nutritional yeast could use that. I think you have some dehydrating to do. I think it's just more of like what I'm assuming, Apple, is that it's more of like a substitute in the same way that my oat parmesan has nothing to do with parmesan or aged cheeses, but tastes like it. But I'll let you guys know once I know and I look over it. But I am sending you guys, let me slow down a little bit. I walked faster today, you guys. So anyhow, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I was doing my little walk. It's always fun to answer your questions and learn more stuff. Yeah, and see, yeah, right? Have you done that? And Marilyn or Joanne, have you guys dehydrated miso and used it like a powder? Because Chef AJ has been asking me forever to try and find a no soy sauce. And I'm wondering if I can make a sprinkle that's similar. But there might still be too much salt in miso for her and her people. I know, now you've given me something awesome to think about, and I appreciate it. You guys, and it's late here, it's almost 9 p.m., and CJ, you are up way too late over there in Scotland. So everybody get some good rest. If you're on the West Coast, enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh, of course Joanne has dehydrated miso. What am I thinking? Did you like it? What did you use it on? Um, but just like if you didn't see me earlier today, just take a little time and just think, what's one small thing that would make you happy? I can tell you what's going to make me happy right now is having a cold, creamy treat. So I'm going to spin up a pint when I get off here and maybe watch like a half an hour of mind-numbing, fun TV, and then I'm going to go to bed early. Might even take a shower before I go to bed. That's how much energy you've given me. Oh, only dehydrated the chickpea pulp. That's a good idea too. And Joanne's done it with white miso. And Apple also realized, everyone's realizing, CJ, you're up too late. Night, night, everybody. So just do some tiny little thing. If you're thirsty, go get yourself some water. If you needed to put a couple of dishes in the dishwasher, just go ahead and do it. Get it done. Then have the rest of the night for yourself, okay? Give yourselves a big hug from me, and I'll see you guys really soon. Don't forget, Cheryl and I are going to go live for Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and talk about the starch solution, shocker, and answer any questions and talk about things like decisions we make or how we're talking to each other and trying to continue this and making this a serious lifestyle change and make it fun at the same time. Um, oh, it's 2 a.m. there? I would have given you this look earlier, but it's delightful to have you here. Ooh, sauces and dressings. I like that. You're using it as your main salt, aren't you? Because you try to limit your salt, I bet. And thank you. Hugs, everybody. And I will talk to you guys real soon. And again, be sweet to yourselves, okay? I mean it. All right. Bye.